Hey guys, how you doing? Here we are with the Saturday Grove, and I am just chilling. 2 weeks into the new job, so much information to take in. My head is like overloaded and fuzzed up. Um, that aside, I think it's all going well, which can never be a bad thing. Normally these are done just kind of free form, but I have a few prompts tonight just because I am a little a bit hazy. So if I drift off or focus out, then you know, just bear with. We will get there. If you're liking these tunes, it's on YouTube. It's Dread Sabbath. Just found it. Absolutely awesome. Let's pause it and let's get on with what we're here to do. So today's musings are prompted by a triad from the Balthas of Iolo Maganag, and it's simplified. It is there are three unities, one God, one truth, and one point of liberty. And I like this, and I thought, let's explore it. Let's pull it apart a bit. I mean, when we say there is one source, there is the all. I mean, it's a statement, really, I think, that not even science can disagree with. It's searching for that one source, where it all came from. Well, it all came from the all, of course. We all know this. Now, whether you define the all as the Tao, God, Goddess, Spirit, it doesn't really matter. It came from the all. It came from that great, amazing, unknowable mystery that we are just all so much a part of, and yet consistently think we are separate from. People spend lifetimes trying to bridge the gap between them and the divine, between them and the source. And the problem is there is no gap. Everything we touch, everything we think, feel, experience, everything that makes up every atom of our bodies is a part of the all. So give up your spiritual journeys and just accept you're part of it already. There's nothing to achieve. You're already there. Is one way you could look at it. And I've met quite a few people who came to that realization and are now spiritually very happy. But we're all part of this one beautiful, wonderful mystery. I remember being liberated reading a book on Kabbalah once, where it said wise old Kabbalists would advise you to never waste a lifetime trying to look for or understand God, because whatever God is or is not is vastly more incomprehensible than we could ever imagine. And the moment we imagine it and think that is what God is, our labeling and pigeonholing suddenly means whatever that is no longer God. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The moment you grasp it, it seeps out and goes elsewhere. We are part of this, and we are not outside of it. We are not separate from. I did a bit back, I can't remember now whether it was one of these or a shorter video or it might even been a written blog, whatever that is. That's me typing. You can tell it takes a long time. That there's this illusion that we need to get back to nature and we're separate from nature. We can't be, because we are part of nature. And to take that one step further, we are a part of the all. You're not outside of it. I mean, one of the greatest analogies is like my hand, well, your hand, my hand, everybody's hands. The people you might be able to hear in the street, their hands. Their hands are not who they are, but they are a part of the whole. They're a part of the all that makes up everything. I mean, every planet, every star, every gap in between is a part of the all. And we ourselves, including that person with the laugh, not sure if you can hear them, we're already there. We're within it. It's one of the things I love about the early Celtic Christian spirituality is, God is not perceived as some distance far off, kind of sit on a cloud smoking your peace pipe playing a harp type dude. God is ever present, is there in the landscape, in the land, in song, in word, and Of course, the all is everything. Everything is a part of the all. We are not the all. That's the only thing. We are not the all. The moment we say, some paths and traditions will go, I step into this, I become like a god. I am the god. No. Really? Do you know how limited you are? We all are. Not just, limited people. All people are limited. All things have their limitations. If we were gods, we wouldn't die. This would not crumble into dust or go up in flames, or however it goes. So, we're within the divine. And within that awareness, within that presence, life goes good. Life is good. The flow happens when we align our lives, our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions with what is. Not with what we think is. Not what we're told is. What really is. We live within, we've all seen The Matrix, I'm presuming. We live within this virtual reality type thing where everything we're experiencing, we're basing on our past experiences, on what people have told us about things. And all of that is illusion. That's the stuff you're stripping away. That's the Maya of the Buddhists, like stripping all that away. The illusion. When your eyes are open and you see beyond illusion, you see reality as it really is. When you see reality as it really is, that is the truth. That is the part of the triad that is the truth part. The part that is I said I was tired, brain is fogging. That is the one truth. It's not like one truth as in this is the only God. That's not one truth. It's not like this is the way to that divine being. That's not one truth. One truth is reality, stripped of all the illusion and interpretation. One truth is the reality that we are a part of the all. We are a part of that which is so much bigger and incomprehensible to us. But within that truth, within that reality, when we see things as they really are, then we can align with that reality. Let me think of an example. Perfect example. I haven't had a TV for 20 plus years, but I do occasionally catch little clippets and things of, it makes me laugh sometimes. Sad. like Britain's Got Talent and stuff like that, but the trial outs, the auditions, and you get some amazing skilled individuals. You get some people who have really bizarre talents, or talents that we recognise but are just really well delivered. And then there's always that 1, 2, 3 who are there and they're like, my mom told me that I am the most amazing singer ever, and I'm just here because I'm so much better than everyone else, because everyone, all my friends tell me so. And they're like, and when did you discover you were such an amazing singer? Well, I go to the karaoke and I sing on the karaoke, and my mom and my dad and my friends, they all say I'm amazing. And they're like, right, okay, and why are you here? Well, I'm here because I'm amazing, I can sing. And don't get me wrong, I can't fault that positive attitude. However, it's caught up in illusion, because they open their mouths and you go, yeah, type come things out of their mouth. They can't sing. They can't sing. They just, there is no note that's recognizable in their voice. And yet they've been trapped in this illusion. And the problem when we're trapped in that illusion of perception and realities as we've been told it is, you hit against that wall. And you see that very much in those talent shows where somebody's world, and it's a terrible thing, is really, 1 minute they're like, I'm the best, and the next minute it's crumbled because the reality is you can't sing. You can't sing. Maybe you can get a job scaring moles. I don't know, but you definitely can't sing. And that is a classic example of when that one truth and our perception are not aligned. The reality is the person can't sing. But whilst they're consistently fighting against the reality and not aligned with the reality, there's going to be suffering. There's going to be, life's, it's going to be knockback after knockback. It'll feel good to be around your friends telling you can sing, but then you won't understand why you're not taking off as a solo performer, why you're sitting by your phone and no one's booking you, because you can't sing. That's the reality. If you align with the reality and realize, awaken to the fact that you cannot sing, then you can work with that reality, work with what is, not with what you want, not with what you fear, but what's actually there. Just because you can't sing now does not mean that you can't learn how to sing. Wake up to the reality, work with and align with the reality. Suddenly you go, okay, actually I sound bloody awful, but I can get some lessons and I can start to learn and teach myself. And most people can grow and achieve that way. Some people just, they're never going to quite get it, but they can still learn things that better what they do. Still might not hit the dizzying heights, but they're working with it. And by working with it, that then starts to open up more opportunities. Okay, so you've been singing by yourself at karaoke, it's been terrible, you've had 6 months worth of lessons, and suddenly you're carrying a note. You might not be the best, but maybe now you've learned to use your voice better. There's, I'm using music as an example just because that's the new job I've started. You're using your voice as an example, and you're singing, and maybe you don't sing like conventionally, maybe you've got an interesting voice, but because you had lessons in that, you can use it. And somebody's at the karaoke and they're putting a band together and they want it to be a bit different, and then suddenly they're like, oh, goodbye a drink, really interesting voice there, we're putting a band together, I wonder if you want to come along and try out. And you do, and it kind of clicks, it kind of works. You're not conventionally necessarily the best of singers, but maybe there's something about the oddity of how you sing that now you've had some lessons, that means at least you're doing what you do the best of your ability. You're taken on by that band, and that opens up a world where you start gigging and you start performing. And who knows, if it's interesting enough and people like it enough, you stick it out on the old YouTube and everywhere else and Spotify and wherever you want to stick your music. You never know what's going to happen. But if you'd been living in that lie, that distorted reality, and fighting against the reality, those options would never open up. Most struggle, when we're battling, most struggle is misalignment. I've spent several years pushing a hypnotherapy business. And it's only when I stepped away from that I realised I never wanted to be a therapist. I don't like therapy work. But I was convincing myself that's what I wanted to do. Good hypnotist, see. Convincing myself that's what I wanted to do. And I was pushing and pushing. But it wasn't. And whilst I was pushing against it, I was struggling. The moment I kind of stepped back and go, I love being able to help people with hypnosis. I love those moments. I don't need to be a hypnotherapist for that. I don't like the term therapist. It has all sorts of weird and odd connotations. And having been in the therapy world, it's not a healthy place. It's not a healthy place. That's a different thought and a different topic for a different channel, to be honest. But when I realised that's not where I want to be, and I then stepped out and go, okay, now I need to do things that are in line with my reality of what the skills are I have, where I'm at, what kind of thing I want to be doing, or I don't want to be doing, but what would be something that utilised the skills I have. That's when things start opening up. That's when doors started opening. But I had to realise and stop struggling with that reality that, it was a thing that, like, during all the training, and so I wanted to learn hypnosis, that everyone points you towards hypnotherapy. It's like when I'm a qualified person-centered counsellor, and when I first learned that, I wasn't learning that to become a therapist. I was learning that because at the time I were running retreats and workshops, spiritual ones, that really pushed and challenged people, that opened stuff up for them, that helped them grow and transform. And I wanted to make sure that, as somebody that facilitated that work, spiritually and magically, that I had a good grounding in tools to hold that space and look after those people. And to be honest, don't do workshops with people that haven't got some sort of idea of that. You're asking for trouble, potentially. I've seen it. So yeah, whilst we're struggling against the reality or the truth is just reality as it really is. The earth spins. That's part of the truth. The seasons change. That's part of the truth. We're part of the all. It's part of the truth. But when we struggle against it, if we're misaligned with it, if we don't see the reality first and then align ourselves with it, we cause struggle. Pushing against the flow. We're pushing against the grain instead of moving with it. When we move with it, our lives become magical. They become transformed. Opportunities appear. Things shift. Things change. Our luck changes. And life becomes a beautiful and wonderful, magical place. And within all that, there's always a point of balance. A point of balance, not, how do I say this? Not a passivity, not a stillness. You think of the equinoxes and the solstice, like the equinoxes, those points of balance in the year. They're not passive. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. In spring equinox, there's so much going on. Energy rising, plants emerging, growth, life. Opposite end, autumn. There's a lot going on. Things are letting go. There's release. There's reward. There's so much. So it's not a passive, stuck place. There's always within this process a point of balance where we go, okay, this is the reality. I'm not going to fight and push against that tide anymore. I'm going to go with the reality, because for me to be the person I want to be, to grow and become the person I want to be, to achieve the best version of myself I can't keep fighting. You have to hear the truth. You have to be open to take it, and it's not always easy. Again, I reference reality TV shows. So there's this point of balance. Whilst we're misaligned, we're not balanced. The moment we open up to the fact that we are part of the all, we're not separate. The moment we wake up to the truth, by that again, like I say, reality, not perceived, not the illusion of our minds, but the reality of our existence. Stop pushing and stop working with what's present. And this goes for our magical workings. It's no use working magic to be a brain surgeon if you've got no hands. Just saying. We stop struggling. We start going with the flow, which is the Taoist thing of going with the Tao, flowing with the Tao. There is a point of balance It's like the center of the circle where everything steps out from and radiates from. It's a living edge where suddenly movement, growth and transformation in our lives becomes possible. Real action, true magic comes from that point. In my book, Lever Kithril Arwen, I talk about this point, that emergent point of chaos and inspiration from which everything manifests. It doesn't take force. It doesn't take effort. That's not actually right. As I'm thinking about that, that's not right. Because it can take effort. It doesn't just happen. Our egos get in the way. Our egos kind of want to trust the illusion, because the illusion that's built up probably makes us feel good about ourselves. Whereas the reality can be a scary thing. Wow, with if you step into looking at life from the reality rather than the illusion, there comes a responsibility. So anyway, where are we? From this central point, this point of balance, that edge, and you know when you're in it because life feels alive. When you're walking that edge, when you're in that point of balance, you're like, oh, I'm alive, life's happening, things are happening. We've all had moments like that. And then I can guarantee you that the moment that sense and that feeling of life being amazing and flow, and by amazing, I don't mean it's easy, I just mean there's a real energy flowing with us. The moment that stops flowing is when we've drifted back into the illusion rather than pushing, rather than going with the flow of what is real and aligning with what is real, the truth. But when we align, when we enter that point of balance, that central point, that point of balance, that is where real action comes from. That's where our rituals and our magic start to work. That's where, and it's, any action you take with intent and purpose is a magical action. But that's when it pays dividends. When you're at that point of balance, when you've gone, the reality is this, and now I'm stepping out. Now I'm moving. I'm at this point and I'm going to work with what is. The actions you take then will be the actions that lead to better things, that help you grow, that help life become better for you. In those moments are moments of clarity. You get clarity and then you get movement. The clarity is just seeing it for what it is. Going back to the singing thing. Oh shit, I can't sing. But I really want to be a singer. But all these people have just been making me feel good and not actually helped me by telling me this. The fact is I can't sing. That's, if you want to be a singer and suddenly you wake up and you go, I've been kidding myself. It's a big step you've got to get yourself back up to the point where you want to do about it. But if it's your truth, if it's what you're meant to be doing, if it's what you're here to be doing, you will make that step up. And that's when the movement comes. You go, okay, I can't sing, but I want to be a singer. What's my next step? And now you're coming from that reality. And by coming from the reality, you're coming from that thing that is part of the all. Because the illusions, they're a barrier to the reality. And I love simplicity. I love simplifying the things we do. I loved it when I was performing magic as a performance magician. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Then you can have fun and engage with people. So I like to think of the great work as being simple. We return to the all, to our place in the all. That, by the way, is the not daughter back from university. And she's also apologised. You probably heard that as well. She's off to go. Me talk about music. She's off to go and play music. She's very good, annoyingly so. But she's worked hard at it. So again, aligning with reality. She has a natural skill. She aligns with it. It opens up things. But the work is simple. If I say that, you're more likely to take that first step. If I say, oh, it's really difficult and really hard, and it's going to... I was listening to somebody over this last week doing some training stuff that I've been doing, telling people that, oh, this bit's going to be really difficult, this bit's really tricky, you're going to struggle with this. Might not bother then, eh? No, the work is simple. The work is simple. I'm not saying the journey is, I'm not saying the challenges aren't, but the work is simple. Return to the all. Whether, again, that's the Tao, God, Great Spirit, whatever, however you perceive that from which we are all, the great mystery, the one. Return. Return to the source, return to one. You have never been separate. So allow the barriers to fall down and begin now to realize. I don't know whether you'll get a glimpse of that later today or whether it be tomorrow when you get a glimpse of your place and your part in the all, that you are not separate. So return. Notice. That's the truth bit. The reality. See what is real. See the truth in your life. Because only when you come from that place of truth will the actions you take be the magical actions that transform your life. Get to that point of balance, that still center, and one clean step from that place where nothing is divided may be the only act of magic you ever need to do to propel your life in a different direction. Wow. So I'm going to go back and listen to this myself because being very tired, I'm not quite sure what I've said. So far when I've done these, I've not had to re-edit them actually. I thought I might have to, but when I've listened back, they've flown better than I thought they did. So I'm hoping you've enjoyed. If you have enjoyed this and you've made it to the end, do just subscribe. I'm going to keep putting stuff into this channel, growing stuff. I'm going to start doing some live stuff. So be a part of it. Be part of that journey. So subscribe. And I'll wish you much love and many blessings from the wonderful centre of the Saturday Grove. And whatever you're doing over the next week, much love, and I hope you have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.